This is Michigan's retirement coach, Mike Douglas.
When it comes to tax season, there's so many tiny pieces of paper flying all about that you've got to put into order. But there's a difference between tax prepping and tax planning. That's what we're going to discuss here today. I'm Heather Branch, here with certified financial planner Mike Douglas, a.k.a. Michigan's retirement coach. Michigan'sRetirementCoach.com is our website and where you can go to start the conversation with Mike and his team about your retirement plan, one that includes a tax plan. We've also got links posted in the show notes, so you can just click there. Or again, it's Michigan'sRetirementCoach.com.
I'm a constant disappointment to the DMV. Sir, do you have your social security card? I haven't seen that in 30 years. Sir, it's an important document. Well, then you guys shouldn't have printed it on a gum wrapper. Okay, at least the passport people made a book out of their thing. It's got pages and a cover, and yes, I lost that one too, but I shouldn't have. Sir, do you have your birth certificate? My birth certificate? That document is 54 years old. I also don't have the Declaration of Independence.
I love Greg Warren.
Greg Warren, if you've not heard of comedian Greg Warren, look him up. He speaks a lot of truth about the things we should laugh more at in life. He's also, I'd never thought about it that way. Your passport is very official in its presentation. Our social security cards, our birth certificates, I know where my birth certificate is, but mine is 46 years old. You pick it up, that little piece of paper is, you know where the folds are? It is hanging on by a thread. I just feel like there should be a more secure version of this document that is so important.
Well, mine is funny too, because I was born in Delaware, and the one from Delaware from 1983.
Yeah.
I've given out more impressive certificates at a youth basketball banquet. Like
they've got little seals on them, little gold stars. This is like,
oh my gosh. Yeah. This is like, it's almost printed on that dot matrix paper.
Yep.
Like where we like the sides that perforate and it's like, you know, it's a rough looking thing. I'm like, is this my birth? This is what they thought. Like, hey, this is what he gets.
This is the most official
document.
document.
Born, they're like, all right, here we go.
Here you go.
That's what Mike gets.
This is the most official document you're going to get in life. That your social security card, also tiny.
This thing will change your life forever, and it looks like it was put together in 30 seconds.
The idea of the important documents and how they're presented to us is a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
Let's talk about all the documents and papers we're going to be buried in, digital or paper. I do appreciate living in the digital age because at least you can kind of create a file on your desktop, a folder on your desktop to start dumping stuff in there that is going to come upon us soon as we get ready for tax prepping season. April 15th comes every year. We're all running around trying to gather all those very important documents, all those emails that you get, all those things that are mailed to you. It's a bit of a circus pulling everything together.
Oh, yeah.
But we do spend so much time, each of us individually, and we take it so seriously, that tax prep every year come April 15th. But what you do at Life Plan Financial Design and as a certified financial planner, you do tax prepping. And I want to talk about the difference. Excuse me. Thank you. Thank you. You do tax planning versus what we do annually is tax prepping. You do tax planning. Yeah. I want to talk about that. What is the importance of that? What is the difference of it?
Well, it's literally the difference of looking out the front windshield of your car and the rear windshield of your car.
Okay.
Right. So there was a great joke. Maybe Brian Regan talked about it, like facing backwards on a car ride in like the back of a station wagon.
Yeah.
And like wondering like, what do all these signs say? You know, tax prep is looking out the rear windshield. It's what happens is in the spring of 2026, we get together with our CPA and look back at last year and see what we did and settle up. That's it. How much did you pay in? How much did you withhold? How much did you earn? What were your taxable withdrawals, taxable investments? All these things all come together and say, all right, based on that, you and the government need to settle up for X dollars. You and the state need to settle up for X dollars. And here we go. That's it. And it's a rear view mirror view of it. Tax planning says, all right, if I'm 55 or I'm 60 and I'm looking at my retirement and I think, hey, I have $800,000 in my 401k, $100,000 in a Roth, and $200,000 in a brokerage account. How are each of those things taxed, and how much am I scheduled to pay in taxes over the next 25 to 30 years of my life? And that time sometimes is a big number. We start looking at, all right, in my life, I'm expected to pay this much in taxes. How can I minimize that and bring that number down? How can I build strategies for not paying all this money in taxes? So tax planning is a forward look at the next 10 to 15 years. And what can we do now to steer the ship away from the big tax icebergs and burdens down the road by making a few small decisions now, or sometimes pretty aggressive decisions. It's strategies to keep more of the money you've earned. So that's what tax planning is. So tax prep, again, is looking in the rear view saying, hey, here's what I did. Let's settle up. Tax planning says, all right, I have a home, I have kids, I have all these things. How do I make sure that I don't go through probate and give away money and pay unnecessary estate taxes? How do I protect what I've earned and saved? And it's just a whole different ideology. I love our CPA, and I say this with my whole heart. I love them. I hope they watch this podcast, right? But I love Jess Christensen and her team. They do outstanding work. But their primary focus with me is to keep me legal, safe, protected, and do things the right way.
Year to year.
That's their primary job, right? And then what you have to do is you can't do any forward creative thinking in March or February or April. Why? Because they are just hammering through tax returns. They're tax prepping, tax returning. If you want to do creative conversations, you have to do those in July, August, September. Well, really not even September because they're getting ready for the October deadlines.
Right.
So you have to do those in the off season. And you really want a forward thinking tax planner who is going to help you be creative in the future and find ways, use the tax code to your advantage. Again, tax planning says, if here's all the rules of the tax code, let's make these strategic chess moves to, over the next 20 years, pay less in taxes. That's the type of stuff we're looking at in a tax planning scenario. Again, very proactive view. You start viewing taxes as an asset, not a liability. And you start thinking about taxes as an opportunity. In the same way that we say, hey, what's a good stock to pick? Should I be jumping on NVIDIA right now? Should I be long or short on tech right now? Or is tech overpriced? And all these questions that people ask about portfolios. If we put that much effort into tax strategy, you may not need to get quite such great rates of return if you could save more of your money. Now, again, some tax strategies have certain thresholds, right? Like I can't do crazy tax strategies if there's not a lot of assets there. But there are tax strategies for those with low assets you should be using, mid-level assets or high assets. It's just different strategies. But to just let taxes happen to you rather than deal with them on your own and actually be proactive, I just think it's a missed and underserved marketplace in the financial world. Because what typically happens is we're going to these silos of responsibilities. My financial guy does my investments, my CPA does my taxes, my estate planning guy does my will and trust, and we silo all that stuff rather than saying, hey, how do we make sure that the taxes affect my investments, affect my estate plan? They should all work together.
Okay. Well, obviously, that's where you come in, helping us figure out how to bring everything together in a plan. If you have questions about this, michigansretirementcoach.com is where to go to start the conversation with Mike and his team about bringing everything together in a tax plan for the years ahead, because, I mean, you've seen it happen. I have to imagine when working with folks, the difference it can make. I've heard you tell stories before about the tax strategies that you've used. In some cases, you end up saving somebody several $100,000 in taxes throughout their retirement. In some cases, I've heard stories, not directly from you, but people will save in taxes the same amount of money that they saved over the course of their lifetime. That's the game changer this kind of tax planning can be for somebody.
We had someone who came in earlier, I guess it was in 2023 or 24.
Yeah.
But when he came in and he met with us as we were talking through, again, he thinks he's meeting with the financial advisor, which he is. We're financial advisors. Yeah. But when he came in, we said, bring your tax return. Why did I bring my tax return? Well, because we talk about taxes too. And as we looked at the last 5 years of tax returns, we were able to go through and say, hey, what are all these taxable events? Why are you paying so much in taxes? Mm-hmm. I don't know. So we went back to his investment statements and we were able to look at the investment statements and the taxes. Yeah. He had a good size account that was being heavily turned over. And so he was paying tons of money.
What does that mean? Like taxes. He had a stock account and and his advisor was trading
heavily.
Okay.
And as a result, churning up all these short-term capital gains, which are taxed as ordinary income. And again, that's nerdy talk for saying he was paying a high level of taxes. He's paying income tax on money he wasn't taking out as income. And so that was a thing for me. I said, hey, why are we why are you paying so much? And I'm talking about some years, it was as much as $80,000 or $90,000 in taxes.
Wow.
And he said, this is just what happens when you have this much money. I said, no, it's not.
It is not.
So we had to go through and say, I think your investments are being made in a silo. They're just trying to churn you the best return.
Okay.
But to the tune of $90,000 of extra taxes. And so when we went through and did a revisit, we said, what if you held those positions longer than a year? And they became long-term capital gains, and the tax rate drops dramatically on those. And so we went through some of that strategy, and we said, we're able to get that number down. You still should be making money. But if by holding the positions, and some of the positions were only held like 340 days, 310 days.
So if they had just been
1 month
held
longer,
yeah,
they're taxed at a fraction of the rate. And so again, the silos hurt a plan, because it's I say this all the time, but it's like coaching one player on a basketball team and hoping the whole team does well. But if you got 5 coaches coaching all 5 starters, hopefully they have the same game plan, but they don't, because in the financial world, they don't even work in the same firm most of the time. They work across town or across the country or across the state.
And they're aren't they legally obligated? They're like, I can't give you
tax advice. I'm a financial guy.
I also I cannot tell you about what that other person said to you as far as advice goes. I cannot agree or disagree with them. You have to decide.
Yeah. That's typically that's my big issue with the large financial institutions, is that they are siloed.
Yeah.
I'm like, as big as you are, you should be doing all these things. How can the local person, like the independent firms like us, how can we and our team do all of the services, but yet you're a huge multinational giant big box firm and you say, I can't give you tax advice, but yet on everybody's letterhead, it says CFP, MBA, all the stuff, right? All the same stuff we have. I have an MBA, I have a CFP, but yet we help people with their taxes and estate plan. And these big box firms say, no, we don't do that, because as a big box firm, it's a real liability to have an advisor out there giving tax advice. What if they're not good at it? So they tell you, go talk to your CPA who's looking in the rearview mirror, go talk to your estate planning attorney who's charging you by the hour, and yet there's no discount on your financial services because they're not doing those. So there's a lot that goes into it. And I just think that when you work with a local firm or an independent firm that has a CFP who actually goes through and does all these strategies, it builds a true, robust financial plan that works for you and your family. And it's not just about the one service per firm.
Yeah. Well, this is what Mike and his team are doing. They have offices all around the Michigan area. They are here for you. If you have questions, if you are realizing, or maybe you're not realizing, you're wondering if you're working with an advisor, if you're paying too much in taxes simply because of the silo structure that you don't even realize you have over your savings, Mike and his team can review your savings setup with you, help you understand how you can move from just the tax prepping phase to a tax planning phase so that you can keep more of your money. This is the goal. MichigansRetirementCoach.com is where to go to start the conversation with Mike and his team. We also have links posted in the show notes, so you can just click there. Ladies and gentlemen, listening to this podcast, keep more of your hard-earned money. Don't hand it over to the government just because you think you have to. Mike and his team here to show you what your options are. MichigansRetirementCoach.com.
Thanks for listening to Michigan's Retirement Coach with Mike Douglas. To learn more, visit MichigansRetirementCoach.com.
Michael Douglas is an investment advisor representative of Stewards Wealth Planning, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Michael Douglas is licensed in your state, please call 517-323-7526. Stewards Wealth Planning, LLC is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Michael B. Douglas, NPN number 9650939.